I'm gonna let you take it away from here, big bro. You're more than welcome to take the stage.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna pull up my slides and figure out how to get the screen sharing going.
You should be good to go.
There we go. Can everyone see that? My presentation should be up on the screen. Are we
Yes,
good, Peter?
yes, you are. I would like to recommend going widescreen on this presentation.
I will. Yeah.
By the way, last note, guys, for anyone that has any questions, just throw it in the chat during this presentation. Fontaine is gonna just gladly, I'm gonna relay over the question to him during the slideshows and he can answer it. If you guys would like to be unmuted, you can use the raise hand feature in the reactions tab. It should be the reactions tab. Yes, raise hand. And then we can gladly unmute you and you can ask your questions during the interview. During the session. Fontaine, take it away, big bro.
Thanks, Peter, and thanks, guys, for joining and seeing what I have to say. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask him. So I'll start off with my story. This was me up here on the left. This is me and my older brother and sister. And then I started playing rugby. My older brother and dad played rugby. So when I was a kid, I played from ages like 6 to 12. And then I got into weightlifting as well. And then down here is probably a camp trip I did with family. And then I actually got hurt playing rugby when I was pretty young, around 12 years old. So from there, I got into downhill longboarding. This here is Maryhill. It's the biggest longboard event in the world. And then this was like my favorite downhill run that I did. And then this was an unfortunate accident. I got ran over by a truck. Pretty much I was in my lane. It was a sharp right-hand hairpin, like 35, 40 miles an hour. And just unfortunate timing. So from there, I wasn't into longboarding anymore, obviously, because of that incident. So from there, I got more into the filmmaking side of things. And my first wedding was in 2019. And I'll tell you the story for that briefly. Pretty much, I walked up to this wedding that was just near where I lived. And I was like, hey, I'm a videographer. Can I film? And they're like, yeah, the ceremony starts in 1 hour. So I'm like, all right. I drove back way too fast to get my camera gear and drove back to the wedding way too fast. And then 2020 was my first year traveling the country to film weddings. So this here was an elopement on Thunder Island on the left. And then I did a bunch of cliff jump trips while I was traveling. And I was 16 and 17 during that year. So you'll see down here on the right, that's the car I pretty much lived in because you can't get a hotel at that age. And then up here is me, my buddy Trevor, and my dog Sophie. So does anyone have any questions on that part? If not, I'll just continue. 2021 was pretty much the same thing, right? I was traveling the country to film weddings, road tripping. I could stay in hotels during the second half. But the first half, I was filming West Coast Adventures. And I think Peter has a link for that. He'll share at the end. But yeah, pretty much I would go on hikes and explore and film as much content as I could of nature and whatever else. And I just created this passion project called West Coast Adventures. So then 2022 was the biggest change. I got back into rugby. And because I was into rugby, I couldn't really travel as much as I would like to. So I figured instead of filming weddings myself, why don't I just teach people how to do it? So me and Sophie moved up here. And we actually
You got to plug in the
Actually,
dog.
we actually just moved out to Colorado. That's where I am now. She doesn't look happy, but she's very happy. She doesn't like it when I do that. But yeah, so this is me filming for my course. And then here are a few more shots, screenshots of the year. Up here is filming for my course again. And down here is a trip I did to Toronto. I was actually kind of injured and I brought like 4 50-pound bags. It was comical. It sucked, but it was enjoyable at the same time. And then this is me and my family in Colorado. I shot 3 weddings in Colorado this summer, I think. So I stayed with my family a bit. And then down here is Seattle Rugby Club doing the anthems. And then the one on the left and the one on the right is from Glacier National Park this summer. The left was a campsite that me and my buddy Trevor stayed at. And then on the right was a grizzly bear. I actually used the shots of the grizzly bear in the wedding film, so it was really cool. Oh, and don't worry, I had a car jack with me when I was shooting the grizzly bear, so it was totally safe. And then the middle one is an elopement I did in Colorado this summer as well, in Rocky Mountain National Park. And then next up, oh, by the way, all of these have been job shadows. So I have job shadows filmed of each of these weddings. This one is Puerto Rico. This was one of my favorites. Here I'm just standing on the dock next to the wedding ceremony. It was like the most beautiful rustic venue. And that was an amazing trip. And then I did one in Italy last month. And I have a job shadow to share with you guys just via a link later. So yeah, let me guys know what questions you have so far, if you have any questions on the weddings I filmed or my story.
We got one. Kessler from Kessler. What is a job shadow? Maybe elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, so I have about 10 virtual job shadows from this summer. And what that is I pay someone to come out and film the wedding. So pretty much you get to watch exactly what I do. And I also just have one that I'll be sharing with you guys for free. Peter's going to send over the link later and you can watch that if you want. It's like a 20-minute job shadow of the wedding I did in Italy. That all? Peter, you're muted.
Oh, geez, of course I am. One more from John. Thank you for answering that. How did you find weddings while traveling? It's a great question, actually.
How did I find them?
Hmm.
Um,
Put you
I
on the spot.
assume you're asking like, how do I book them around the world? So it's the main one I use is Facebook advertising and Facebook groups. And I don't really have time to walk you guys through that, but pretty much just sharing your content in different groups in different locations is pretty much the gist of it.
Love it. Love it. I know you're probably going to go into a little more detail how to go around that. And I
Yeah.
know you're going to plug in your little course that you're working on
Mhm.
as well. So I guess I'm just going to finish off from there. You could keep going. Looks
Cool.
like
So starting before you're ready, I always have people tell me like they'd love to get into wedding filmmaking and nobody ever does, right? So my thing is just go ahead and start and see if it's something you enjoy. You'll get experience that you need. You'll build connections and a portfolio that you really need if you want to make money. And then you'll gain clarity on what you enjoy. So the younger you are, the more, the more it'll help to gain clarity on what you want to do with your life. I'll talk about how this can be a genuine career in further slides, and then just do it. Okay, so why weddings? The money time ratio. This year I made 150,000 and I've only worked like 2 or 3 hours a week, not counting obviously filming the weddings themselves. Automated processes. So I use Honeybook. It's a client management program. And you have brochure, proposal, and questionnaire templates. So it's really easy to do all your marketing through there. And then very little back-end work. You can hire out your editing, right? So if you charge $6,000 to film, you can pay $300 for an editor. And then it's a party. So like people always talk about how stressful weddings are. For me, they're within my comfort zone for sure. You kind of develop your systems, and once you do that, you just get used to it and it's fun. Right? It's not like a commercial gig where you have to deal with people who are really stressed and all that. And then last one is adventures, right? If you want to travel a lot and your lifestyle is going to be on the road, flights, and you want to live a kind of, Sam Coldery kind of lifestyle, weddings are a great option. Okay, so responding to cliches, I think people sometimes don't get into wedding filmmaking because they don't really see it as like a career, right? They see it as just a way to make money for a little bit. And for me, that's totally not true. I was actually doing some like accounting the other day, and it's like, yeah, you could totally live a great living filming weddings, not work a ton of hours, travel a lot, have a lot of free time for whatever kind of weird stuff you want to do, right? And then complex and stressful. For me, again, it's like after the first two, it's just a piece of cake. The filming is so easy. And then complex. For me, I've kind of like minimized the gear I bring. I don't use a lot of gear nowadays, even if I'm traveling like internationally, I'll only bring 2 bags. And then it's not a creative job. That's up to you. For me, the weddings that are on my portfolio have been edited with a lot of passion, right? And for me, it totally is a creative job. If you want to do a more like cookie cutter style, that's up to you. So questions there? No?
We got one. How long are you finished editing, or how long are you finished editing wedding videos?
There are 5.
Process, I guess I'm assuming, from the shooting to the editing.
Well,
What's
they
the
might be
time?
asking length of film. So
Oh,
length of film is 5 minutes for the base package. And then they pay like an extra $700 for a 7 minute, or an extra $1,200 for a 10 minute. Or, you can go beyond that even. And then for editing time, I just pay someone to edit, right? Because even if it's only like 5 hours, I'd rather pay someone $300 and just send them the footage. So it can be as long as you want. Some of the weddings I've totally dived into, I've taken 50 hours.
yeah. Yeah. Love that answer, because you yourself, you're trying to build your own foundation of editing these videos, but you're working more tactical and more time efficient with regards to just paying someone off. So you're more on the lines of directing it as well. That's
Yep.
cool. Cool. It looks like we have one more question for Maxim, or two more questions. Do you pay the editor by hour or project rate? Great question.
Project rate.
Project rate. Maxime, how do you manage your data files while on the road?
I use Glyph, the same one that
SD.
Sam Kohler uses. Yeah.
SSDs.
Yeah.
Lifesaver.
So I use the SSD when I'm traveling, and then I dump it all on my 12 terabyte hard drive.
That's about it.
All right. So I've created this slide. This is also like part of my course where I walk you through exactly how to do this. But this slide is going over your first year. So pretty much what you do is you start off, this is assuming you don't film weddings already. You start off building your portfolio. And for me, what I like to do, what I did do, and what I recommend is filming for free rather than cheap at the very start, because that way you can handpick which weddings you shoot and find out details for them. And then from there, you have your portfolio and you can start booking. I wrote down $1,000 at the start. You can start a lot higher than that. That's what I started with when I was like 16. And there's a photo of me on my website in the About Me page. I just look like a kid. And I had one video on my website. That was the one I shot for free in 2019. So this is like not even a very great first year, but just gives you a look at the income you would make and how much you'd be shooting. So here's the summary. You're going to make videos for free to build your portfolio, share them, and then make a bunch of money. Okay, so then year 2 is going to be the same thing for most people. I have an advanced method, which is generally year 3. You don't really want to do that too early if you don't have like a really stunning website. So year 2 is going to be the same. You just raise your prices up a little bit. And then the videos on your website, your portfolio are going to be better too, because you can, sort through a bunch of weddings you've shot. And that was like, for me, that was 2021, right? When I was filming West Coast Adventures, I was just making a little bit more money, charging more confident. And then year 3 is what I did this year. So you're going to raise your base package to what I found works best is $5,000 to $10,000. And then you run giveaways and you offer discounts to the people who don't win the giveaways. You offer 50%. So what this does is it allows you to target 2 different classes of people, right? People who are looking to spend a lot on their wedding, the high end, which is the 5,000 to 10,000. And then the more moderate people who might only have $3,000 or $4,000 budget for a videographer. So if you book 10 at 7,000, you would then book maybe 20 at 3,500, right? So you'll make $140,000 in that scenario. Well, actually, you'd make a lot more than that because of all the add-ons in your brochure. All right, and then year 3, another great pro of this method is you can book weddings around the world. And the reason for this is if you're charging 3,000 or if you're charging 7,000, a $2,000 travel fee doesn't seem like a whole lot, right? Whereas if you're charging 3,000 and the travel fee is 2,500, they're not going to go for that. So questions on any of those methods?
We got one kind of going a little off topic, but primary avenue for lead generation. Lead gen. I don't know if you play with a little bit of lead generation.
Lead generate. I don't know what that is, man. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. You see, guys, you don't need to diversify yourself too much. You can stick to one sole thing that's working for you.
Yeah, guys, like my course, this course that I teach is just what I do, and I know that it works for me. I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. So like I won't, some of the guys who are in my course will be using methods that I don't even know about that I'm sure are working great.
They're working great. Maxime, do you have a second shooter that travels with you, or do you just film solo?
I film solo because it's a 5-minute film, right? So you don't need a second shooter. And even if you do, in my opinion, you'd have to use the same camera. I think it looks terrible when you've got like a Sony and a Blackmagic.
Gotcha. Kessler, how do you deliver the footage to your editor? I'm assuming just the G drive. Yeah.
No, it's called MediaZilla.
I
I could probably screen share if you guys were interested.
Let's do it.
All right. If I can figure out, oh no, I'm on
You're good. You're good to go.
so this is what it is. It's pretty much you create a website. I think it's like $400 a year for this, which is like nothing. And you create a website for the couple, and it's like a private link with password encoded, right? So I'll just pull up one of these. This was a wedding I did in Toronto. So
I've never actually heard of this MediaZilla. Casey fam, drop in the chat if you know MediaZilla.
oh damn, I'll have to change the password for their thing now. Y'all know it. Don't go sharing their film. We'll have to edit that out, Peter. So this is what it looks like. This is not a very good image. I might have been a little bit lazy here, gotta be honest. Could have found a better screenshot, but right. So they can go ahead and watch the film. And they can download it. I think the download button is here. It is. Right, so they can download it here as well.
We lost you. Could be another window. John
Yeah,
from
I think it is.
Scotland. It looks like Frame.io a bit. Kind of does look like Frame.io a little bit without the reviews and stuff. Nick, plugging in your website, link to your website. Would you like to give a little preview really fast of how your portfolio looks like?
Here you go.
There she is.
So I built this via Webflow and it sucked, but that's on me. I'm just not a good website builder. So I've got just my homepage is showing a little reel, and then I'll just scroll through the whole thing. It's all on one page. And I do that so that it's not confusing. They can just scroll through it. So films here, if you click on it, it opens it up. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but and then I've got a few links and photos. And then I built these Lottie animations that are pretty cool. Can you guys see that? Yeah, they're awesome. And then testimonials down here. And then this is a really cool Lottie animation as well. And then just a contact page. Oh, then I have deals as well that I work with photographers with, and a few other ones.
Super cool. Thanks for showing the community, Fontaine. For a rookie Webflow website that you designed, honestly, it's very good. You have the whole structure in place, has laid out everything that you need. Really well done.
Thanks, man.
I'll let you hop back into that presentation.
So the purpose of, well, I already talked about this pretty much, but the cheaper weddings give you a fallback, right? So if you don't book as many at 7,000 as you would have liked to, you've got the cheaper weddings to still generate income and pay for stuff. And then also, if you guys have any questions on these later, you can send me an email. It's just management@my firstname and lastname.com. Okay, so now we're diving into, this is year 3 when you're trying to book weddings at a higher price. So right here, I've got for the first slide, perceived value. This is the first thing for me that's allowed me to book, in my opinion, it's allowed me to book weddings in that $5,000 to $10,000 window. And it's just perceived value, right? Kind of self-explanatory, but Toyota versus Rolls-Royce, no one's going to pay $300,000 for a car from this website, and no one's going to pay $10,000 for a wedding video from that website either. And then same thing here, just with apartments as the example. And then part 2 of perceived value is going to be communication. You can kind of think of it as the same as that last slide. if you're inquiring for a high-rise apartment that's like 4,000 a month for a one bedroom, you're going to get back an email right away, and it's going to be thorough and personalized, right? So what I like to do is send them an email just kind of repeating all the stuff they said about their wedding. So if someone's eloping in Yosemite, I'll just write like 3 sentences about like an experience I had at Yosemite, right? So for me, those two things, um, communication and just a high value looking website. For me, those two things are massive. And I think that's what's allowed me to charge more this year. Oh, throat's getting dry.
You were so passionate. You lost your voice there.
I want you guys to succeed. That's all. So number 2 is they want you. I haven't actually watched a wedding video that wasn't my own. People don't believe me when I say that, but I really haven't. Couples are looking through websites and searching for somebody that they resonate with and somebody whose films make them feel something, right? They're not like watching 2 videos simultaneously and taking notes on like the quality of each shot, right? So don't compare yourself to others. Just be authentic in the sense that just create from the heart. When you're editing, when you're shooting, just do your own thing, develop your own style. And then the gear I recommend, what I use this year is a handheld rig on a glide cam. And that's my preference. I use the Blackmagic 4K now. But what I've used in the past and had a lot of luck with was the Fujifilm X-T3. And then I was using a 50 and 20 mil full frame equivalent lens that are the same weight. So you can swap them on a gimbal without having to rebalance. So this is what I currently use. This monitor here, I don't actually use. I just threw it on for the photo. And you can see it's really easy to just snatch the handheld rig off the glide cam and just shoot with that. And I like the combination of the handheld shots and the smooth glide cam shots. And then the second setup I recommend is just a gimbal. The camera I like is the Fujifilm X-T3. I'm seeing like the chat increase. I feel like you guys are bashing on my opinions, or like, you guys want to share what you use?
Brother, I'm giving you so much love for the glide cam.
Okay, right on.
Well, we have our own preferences. Love it. Carry on.
Okay, so this is the first setup I use. It's the Fujifilm X-T3. And then the gimbal you use, I don't care. Just use one that you like. And then the 35, these 35s and 12s are the ones that I was using. They're the same weight. So like literally you're shooting with the 50, which is the 35, right? Full frame equivalent. It's 50 mil. And then you want a shot of ultra wide shot of scenery or whatever. And you just swap it, you throw the lens in your bag, you put the new one on, and you're good to go. And then the only time you wouldn't be using that is for the ceremony, which is, I recommend shooting it with a monopod and a zoom lens with a wide range of focal length. So that way you can film them with a wide angle, walking down the aisle, and then zoom in for the vows. So any questions on that first setup?
You guys can totally throw the raise hand feature if you want to be unmuted, or you can unmute yourselves and go right for it. Keep in mind also the chat is open. Maybe throw in your favorite setup of your own. Other than that, Fontaine, I think you're still good to go.
Okay, so this is what I use now. I switched in, I think it was the end of 2020. I used the Blackmagic 4K with the Sigma 18-35 and the Canon EF 0.71 times speed booster. And then I've got these 3 lenses. The 50 mil is for like the shallow shots and the low light. And then the Tokina is the ultra wide. I mainly just use that for establishing shots of the venue and stuff. And then the Canon 24 to 105 is the lens I use for the ceremony. And the Blackmagic is amazing. And if you use the speed booster, it gives you another stop of light. So if you go watch my West Coast Adventures film, you'll see shots that I filmed under moonlight, just at nighttime, no other light. And it turns out amazing.
Can you explain to everyone a little bit of the speed booster?
Yeah, the speed booster. So it gives you a full another stop of light. So if you're shooting at 12,000 ISO without it, if you were using it, you'd only have to be shooting at 6,400. And then the other thing it does is it makes the focal length wider. So if I'm using a Canon 50 1.2 on the Blackmagic, that's like a 90 mil. Just if that was just straight onto the Blackmagic, but with the speed booster, it's 90 times 0.17. So it's like 60.
Can I ask a quick question here? Not to take you off your flow. As far as duration of your wedding videos go, is kind of the psychological background of like how, like, you know, as far as media being consumed and kind of shorter, quicker, faster, kind of is the stuff that kind of engages better. Has that idea influenced your edits in any way? Have you changed your style over time or anything like that? Or I don't know, curious about that.
No, I haven't changed my style at all. I don't use social media that much, so I haven't really like seen that. So for me, I just keep doing what I've been doing and it works great. But one thing I do offer is a 60-second Instagram trailer, and that just goes up in my brochure. I think it's like $300, and I just spend like half an hour editing together a 60-second cut. Okay.
We do have one more question really fast. Picture
Sure.
profile. Are you shooting with anything in default?
On the Blackmagic, it's raw, so there's no such thing as a picture profile.
Right.
But on the XT3, I used to shoot F-Log in daylight, and then Eterna in not great lighting conditions, like indoors. Because if you shoot F-Log in lighting like this, it's gonna be too hard to bring back the colors. It'll get all like washy. Like when you try to color grade an iPhone video or something, it just looks terrible. But yeah, Eterna, Fujifilm has the best colors in my opinion. I like them still even more than Blackmagic.
Wow. Love it. Speed booster. I think you mentioned it. What do you use?
It's the Metabones 0.71.
7.1.
Yeah, the EF, the Canon EF.
Lastly, from John, editing software. DaVinci, man.
I use a few, but mainly I use Premiere Pro.
Premiere.
But I just started with that. Like DaVinci's awesome. I've been using that to color grade projects that I have the time for. Like West Coast Adventures was color graded in DaVinci.
Everyone drop in the chat. What software are you guys currently using? Are you guys playing around with DaVinci? Ciao. Carry on.
Yeah, Maxime. For Speed Booster, the 0.64, I don't think that one works as well with the Sigma 18 to 35. I think you're gonna get too much vignetting. Premiere and its pure suffering. Yeah. No.
Every Adobe user has to agree. You have to concede that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a full agreement. It's the umbrella that no one talks about, really.
I don't know. What I notice is as my projects get like huge, it starts to slow down. Otherwise, it doesn't bother me at all. I have workarounds. Like when I'm sound designing something, I just export like a low quality version of my whole timeline, just the video, and then sound design through there.
Interesting.
I'll do 15-second reels that drop. So guys, use DaVinci. Check out the course. Shameless plug.
Carry on.
No, I don't use lights. You can if you want. I make a lot of money and I don't have to bring a bunch of bags. So that's why I don't use lights. And the Blackmagic's great indoors. So, I just keep doing what works for me. But if you want to bring lights and bring a bunch of gear and bags, go ahead.
Thanks.
So this slide was originally created for the Italy job shadow. We're just gonna have Peter post a link somewhere later.
So we are going to be uploading this for anyone, for anyone's first student dance session that's just joining in. We have in your student dashboard, you have a student dance sessions module where you can watch all the recorded previous ones, and in the description I'll be including his Italy trip. Basically, that's what it is, right? Oh, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The job show. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So here I have a 3-minute video I'm gonna share. It's discussing how to do travel fees, and this is massively important if you want to book weddings around the world.
Put it in the basket. Put it in the basket. Come on. Put it in the basket. Come on. How about your other toy?
So this is a video from my course. I'm just gonna share the screen and let you guys watch it.
Travel fees, yes or no? Now, first of all, I realize that you don't need to be traveling the world for my methods to work. They can work even if you don't travel out of state. However, if you're struggling to go full time, being willing to travel can open the door for more opportunities to book weddings and get closer to filling out that calendar. So I really do just recommend that everybody travels. You make more money and it's fun as long as you're not that person that brings 3 tripods and camera setups. Travel fees are tricky because of course you don't want to discourage people from booking you out of state, but at the same time, you're going to be making a lot less money if you don't charge for travel. By the time you've paid $500 to $1,000 20 times throughout the year for traveling, you've spent a lot of your own money. So as I've mentioned previously, I recommend adding travel fees once you're charging $1,800 per video or more, which you should be hitting fairly quickly. But at the start, do keep them minimal, like underestimating mileage and hotel stays. Once you start charging $3 to $4 grand per video, then you can honestly estimate how much you're going to spend. And if you end up spending a little bit less than you charge, don't even worry about it. The rate is a fixed rate, so the couple's not going to be inquiring about how much you spend. However, it does seem like you generally spend a little bit more than you charge anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The couple doesn't care, and if they did, that's not even how travel fees work. So here's how they do work. After the couple makes a selection from your brochure, you simply add on the travel fee to the proposal that you send to them. It takes 10 seconds and couples don't seem to mind. You may be worried at losing them to this additional cost, but that's the wrong way to look at it. You come across as cheap and unprofessional as a business if you agree to fly yourself from Tallahassee to Houston. However, on the other hand, I also think you come across as obnoxious if you charge for a 1-hour drive. I don't add on a travel fee unless I'm driving 3 or more hours. And the final tip I'll give is to use travel fees as a way to vary your packaging. What I mean by this is if you get an inquiry for a Tuesday in November, you might not want to add the travel fee because you want to book that wedding. But if the inquiry is July 27th on a Saturday, you might want to add a travel fee and maybe even estimate a little bit higher than what you think you're going to spend. If you're looking to build your portfolio and the venue is stunning or something like that, then you might want to not add a travel fee at all. In fact, you could even let them know that you don't want to add a travel fee because you want to make sure you book the wedding because their venue is so stunning and they're such a beautiful couple that you want to make a really incredible film for them. Couples love to hear that.
Fontaine. Awesome.
John's asking if I film other events. No, I just film weddings. Again, I just stick with what works. I have filmed other events and done commercial work and stuff. The first paid job I got was with Cavalier Audio, and I was 15, and I just filmed like their speakers and did like projects for just small amounts of money, like little 30 seconds videos. Max says, can you replay the video? Peter will have a link for you later. Adam, yeah. So I use lavaliers on the groom. And then I use a Zoom recorder to tap into the DJ sound box. And then I usually use a second Zoom and I just put it somewhere next to a speaker. And so that's like my second backup. See you, Nick.
Cool.
Thanks for joining.
See you, Nikki. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Is my presentation shared? Is it? Can you all see it now?
No, it's not being shared.
One sec, guys. There you go.
Back in it.
So my closing thoughts. So this is just about success. This was the final thing I wanted to say. When you have a goal, I see people doing one of two things. Either they say they may not succeed, so they're going to half-ass it. They're going to minimize the effort in case they don't. Or they say they might not succeed, so they're going to put as much heart into it as they can to give themselves the best chance. And that's all, guys.
Fontaine, thank you so much. Everyone blast in the chat. Open up your mics if you guys want and throw in all the love for Fontaine. I think one of the reasons why I chose you for SDS as well is because what's cool about you, Fontaine, is you're not we already got a question around this, is like you're not you're not running a lot of lead gen, you're not cold emailing 1,000 people, creating a hit list, whale fishing, anything like that. You kind of just made a basis of, this is your website, this is your portfolio, structure that first, make it a intentional goal to create a proper portfolio, and working from there. And then that's where your clients can slowly come in, taking in the effort of yourself, taking initiative, showing your confidence that this is what I do, this is my rates, things like that. It's really just starting off and like you creating a basis for yourself. It doesn't really have to be this crazy idea of like a hit list of 1,000 people you want to work with or like things like that. It's always nice to set some sort of goal around that, but it's cool to see how you're flowing in a different way, and you're making 6 figures around that, and it's super intriguing. And I'm glad the members can catch a little bit of just that lesson of yours. Thank you so much.